us and to understand how useful is Toastmaster in a life. So, I have to make it short, but what we do normally is asking the guest how they get to know us and who was the person inviting us to come here. We know that last week we had our club days and a lot of people passed by and met us and were putting this data on a sheet of paper hoping to be called to this meeting. So I know that it was the reason why you are all attending this meeting, but please, for us it's always good to know in which agency you work and if you have heard before about Toastmasters. So I will go this way around, so if you can just mention who you are, where you work, and if you heard before about Toastmasters. So I will start by you, please.
My name is Vanessa. I work for the Atomic Agency. I joined recently, and actually I have heard before about Toastmasters. Actually, I came from Turin, and in Turin apparently there's a very active group, and one of my colleagues had joined the group, and I wanted to join, but then I just moved to Vienna, and therefore I have not had the chance, and then I have just seen that we're actually here, that it's actually bigger than I expected, and so that's all I can say.
Thank you, Vanessa.
Hello, my name is Javier. I work with Vanessa also in technical cooperation, Latin America and the Caribbean. And I got to know this Toastmaster for her. She actually told me that there was this Toastmaster coming on, and I was thinking it's a good idea to see and come. Actually, I'm really surprised. It's a really big group, so anyway, just here to.
But you're on the same way today because you will observe.
Okay.
So even if the group is big, don't be afraid. You
it's
will
actually,
observe. So
no, it's actually encouraging. It's better. I prefer.
Encouraging for him, for me.
Good, Javier, good. Next one, please.
My name is Walid. I've been here in Vienna for years already. I work for the CTBTO 5 years. And it was the first time I hear about Toastmasters last week when I stopped at your booth and closed it. Yes.
And you had never heard about it before, and your colleagues, because we have some colleagues from CTBTO attending.
Yeah, I just realized that I have noticed some of my colleagues at the library, at the Unido library on the fourth floor. When I just went through that corridor accidentally, and I noticed them in a meeting or something there. But I never knew of that before.
So that's good.
Yeah, of course it's good. Yes.
You made this step. That's wonderful. Good.
I'm Dimitri. I work for Safeguards agency. I heard about Toastmaster actually in China. I had some of my friends attending over there. So and here after the club day, I'm thinking we give a lot of presentation, but everyone wants to hear story today. So let's try here.
Good, Dimitri. Thanks.
Hi everybody, I'm Robin. I am French-Swedish and I work for Unido. I got to hear for the first time about Toastmasters through Claire Edwards, who is managing the writing skills in writing skills workshops. Nice to meet you.
My name is Anna. I work for the International Atomic Energy Agency. I heard of Toastmaster last year when I was searching for something to do at lunchtime. So I was going through all the clubs and I saw Toastmaster and I thought it was a very interesting name. So I searched a little bit and I consider something that will give me a lot of resources for the future.
Thank you, Anna.
Hello, my name is Yassine. I work for the CTBTO. I joined the VIC last month, and I first heard about Toastmasters at the website.
Yes, thank you. Please.
I'll just wait for the camera. Loving it. Hi, my name is Amalia Dragone, and I work with Unido for 3 years. years and just left last year to focus on my studies, and now I'm back. And I actually heard about Toastmasters a year ago, but then left. So I've been looking forward to this for a year now.
Hello, I'm Tm. I'm from Vic Tm. I'm working in university last 1 year now, and I met you in Clubs Day, so it looks very interesting. Let's see. So thank you very much for organizing.
And thank you for
inviting
coming and attending.
Nice to meet.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Nazik. I'm coming from Kyrgyz Republic. I'm intern at UNIDO. Last week I was going to lunch and suddenly I saw this booth of toast makers, and this was very interesting to me. And this is my first time, and I'm happy to be here.
Welcome, welcome. Can I ask you also your name and where you come from?
Hello everyone, I'm Nadira from Sri Lanka. I work for the Atomic Energy Agency. Nice to meet you all.
Nice to meet you.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Ravindra. I'm working in UNIDO Advocacy and Communication. And I just also sort of saw this club when I was walking to the last week, but I have participated in some Toastmaster meetings when I was in Geneva some years ago as well. And I do the lectures for UNIDO, so I'm very much interested in improving the way I sort of present myself, because at this time I put everybody to sleep, so I just want to try to make it a bit better. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. So we have a small guest book here, and each time we have guests here, we ask them to put their name and their email address, you know, because the principle of this club is for you to attend 3 times our meeting, to make up your mind, to see if it's exactly what you expect from this club. To make it very short, here you can come to improve your communication skills or to improve your leadership skills, you know, in very large, because we don't have so much time to explain everything in details. But also, you will gain some confidence being here, and you will also find any other kind of reason to be here. So it's really a good place to be at lunchtime. If you don't know what to do, I think twice a month to participate to our meeting is really a big investment for you. You won't imagine what here. The good thing is that we have members attending this meeting for years, even before me, and they are still here and they have improved, you know, during all their time working here at the UN and after, because we have also retirees, we mix everybody, young people, more experienced people, people from different countries with different accents. You know, I think it's really a good place to understand that everybody has a chance to be someone and to expect improving, because the most important thing in life for me also, and for I think the Toastmaster philosophy, is to move on, not to stay and to remain, you know. Life is can be very interesting if you do something of your life and if you move on. So you all move on because you decide to come today, and I think it's the first step, even if you are not prepared to go further, because everybody has 100 reasons to avoid meetings because they prefer to go and have lunch with friends. At least you could see what happened here, and perhaps in the future you will come back and you will think that it is really something you want for yourself. So I think you did it well. So I make this circulated, if you can put your data. I will stop talking now and I will introduce the Toastmaster of the day, because in our meeting we have a special structure. The Toastmaster of the day will introduce exactly the meeting, but me as a chairperson, my goal is to introduce him. And as I said before, this person is one of our more experienced people here at the UN. He is now a retiree, but we learn a lot from him, because also he gave us a lot of tips to grow, to improve, to And I am happy today to introduce this person to you, and I'm sure that he will lead you through a very, very good meeting. I'm calling Otto.
Thank you, Toastmaster Valerie. Fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, this morning I read a short note in the newspaper. The average attention span of people shrank from 12 seconds in the year 2000 to 8 seconds today. Now, with 8 seconds, we are at the same level with goldfish concerning what the attention span, the average attention span is concerned. So I think this is a real challenge for verbal communication. What do we Toastmasters do about it? Well, one of the things we learn and practice here is how to speak so that the audience will listen to you for more than 8 seconds, and perhaps even for more than 12 seconds. And listening, as I say, is very important too. It's not so easy to be a good listener, and we practice that too, because only then we can give feedback. And the real learning comes with the feedback we get from fellow members. So that's the 3 things we do. We do prepared speeches, most of them between 5 and 7 minutes. Today we will have one which is a little shorter and one which is a little longer, but that's the normal length, is 5 to 7 minutes. Then unprepared speeches, and then giving and receiving feedback. And that's the 3 main parts of such a Toastmaster meeting. We will start with 2 prepared speeches, then we will have unprepared speeches, as in Toastmasters jargon it's called table topics or impromptu speaking. And then the last part is the evaluation part, where selected members give specific feedback both on the prepared speeches and on all the other aspects of the meeting. And it's very good to stay to the evaluation part, because then we really see what's going on here. Because speeches you hear all over, but this type of feedback is something pretty specific to Toastmasters. And that's also why everybody can join Toastmasters, and it's meaningful for everybody. If you are a beginner who is very much afraid and even trembling to speak before an audience, that was my case, then very quickly most people can learn to overcome that. And even a very experienced speaker, who may even be better than many of us, can learn something here, because only here this person will get specific, constructive and still honest feedback. That's not so easy to get outside, because people may not dare to say something or may not have the experience. So that's what we do: prepared speeches, impromptu speeches, and feedback. And for the feedback, or as we call it, evaluation part, we have another member who will guide us through this. And this is Toastmaster Rina, who will now introduce the evaluation team, please.
Fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, we all learn every day a lot, and we think we do everything perfect, but I can assure you, every time, each single person, there is enough space for improvement. So the evaluation team, what they are doing to just make the improvement space a little bit shorter. So the speeches will be, we have got one speech, the speech of Nicole will be evaluated by Toastmaster Vicky, and the second speech will be evaluated by Toastmaster Valerie. And we have got a team to count the unnecessary words, ahs, ums and ums, and the long pause. And also someone is here, experienced Toastmaster is here to look at the grammar. And Toastmaster Birgitte will look at the time, whether we talk too short or too long. Since we have so many guests here, Toastmaster Shuba, could you please explain your role in this meeting?
Fellow Toastmasters, honors guests, my task today is of accountant. That means I'm the money maker today. So if you say twice, and, or if there is any gap in the sentence, you say half sentence, then you start another one. So for all this, it costs 10 cents for each mistake, or each repetition, or each interruption. That means we will charge you only €1, no matter how many mistakes you do it. So we charge for 10 mistakes only. Of course, we would like to make more money, but please don't do many mistakes. So this is my task today, and I wish you good luck for that.
And Toastmaster Brigitte, could you please briefly explain your work, how you keep the timing?
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. I'm responsible today for monitoring the timing. Only certain parts will be timed. That means the prepared speeches, the impromptu speeches, and also the evaluations. For the prepared speeches, if we say the speech takes, the allotted time is between 5 to 7 minutes, then the speaker should not talk less than 5 minutes, only 30 seconds less are allowed, or should not talk more than 7.5 minutes, because if it's in a contest, then this person would be disqualified. In such cases, for the prepared speeches, if the speech takes between 5 to 7 minutes, after 5 minutes I show the green card. That means the speaker knows exactly he still has 2 minutes to go. After 6 minutes I show the yellow card. That means 1 minute is still available to finish the speech, and then at 7 minutes there will be the red card. So the speaker knows exactly another 30 minutes, otherwise 30 seconds, thank you. Otherwise in a contest the speaker would be disqualified. The same procedure is for the impromptu speeches, that means the table topics. We have the speaker should talk between 1 and 2 minutes. So at 1 minute I show the green card, 1.5 minutes the yellow one, and at 2 minutes the red one. It's again 30 seconds longer are okay, or 30 seconds less are also possible. For the evaluation we have 3 minutes, between 2 and 3 minutes, and the time is also taken. And at the end of the meeting I give my report and inform the speakers and the audience how they did during the meeting. This is brief what I have to do.
Okay. Thank you, Toastmaster Brigitte. The very last minute, Toastmaster Lily agreed to be the grammarian, and she will also introduce the word of the day. Toastmaster Lily, please.
So my role as a grammarian is to examine use of language, to praise good use of language, and to point out mistakes. Also, the word of the day, which I thought of today spontaneously, was member. Member. What is a member? What does it mean to belong to a club, to an organisation, to be a member? And when you use this word during any of your talks today, we will count them, and the person who used it the most will have won. What you win is a claim. We can clap for you to say congratulations that you used this word the most. Member.
Thank you.
With this, I return the stage to Toastmaster.
Toastmaster Rina and your team. So it's a good idea to become a member of this club. But I would still advise you to come at 2 or 3 meetings, because you get another impression, because every meeting is a little different, because we rotate the roles, so the different speakers there will be, and the Toastmaster of the day will be a different person, and so on. So the structure is always the same, but the actual contents and the actual people speaking are always different. Okay, so let's now come to the section of the prepared speeches, and there I will announce a small change in the agenda, because we have one so-called icebreaker. That's the very first speech in the club, and we usually like to have that first, so that the person which may be a little bit nervous gets over with it as soon as possible. So, this icebreaker speaker is Toastmaster Ilman. He joined our club about 4 months ago, and I will now ask the evaluator of Toastmaster Ilman to explain what the icebreaker is all about. So, Toastmaster Valerie. Here she is. Sorry.
I would need a communication to read the goal. So. So, the objective of this first speech for Ilman is to begin speaking before an audience and to discover speaking skills he already has and skill that he needs to get some attention. His speech will be between 4 and 6 minutes.
Thank you, Dr. Valerie. So let's give a big greeting, welcoming applause for Toastmaster.
Toastmasters of the day, fellow Toastmaster members and honored guests. Today I'm going to give an icebreaker speech. So in Indonesia, there's a saying. It says, "Tak kenal maka tak sayang." It means that if people don't know about you, then it will be hard for them to care about you. So in this time, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Ilman, and I come from Indonesia, which capital city is Jakarta. It is a huge country. We have more than 250 million people living there. And I grew up in a town called Bandung. It is about 2 hours drive away from Jakarta. It is a beautiful city. It's surrounded by mountains, so it's relatively colder than any other city in Indonesia. Of course, not as cold as in Vienna in winter, but it's really nice. Even the Dutch call Bandung as Paris van Java because it was really nice. A lot of flowers. It's a lot of good scenery. So I spent my childhood there from when I was little until high school, and for the university I moved to Yogyakarta. This one is 900 kilometers away from Jakarta, and it's really far. This is my first time ever being a part of my family. So it was really hard for me at first, to survive on my own, surrounded by new people. Unfortunately, I made a lot of wonderful people there. I made a lot of friends, especially 3 wonderful women that later become my best friends, and I like to call them my second family. And we call ourselves 3+1 because 3 women and 1 boy. And the 4 of us spent our time a lot together in the university. We started university together, we graduated together, we got accepted at the same office in Jakarta together. We also have houses in this close distance with each other. So it's really nice to meet best friends like that and become a family later on. And a year ago, I got accepted to work in the agency. So I moved here, and with no family, because I'm still single, and I miss my friend, I miss my family. I'm a social person, but unfortunately, I'm shy if I meet new people. So when I meet new people, I usually got quiet and waiting for them to talk to me first. it's quite hard for me because in Indonesia, it's, you know, we have a different culture. People there are more talkative. Sometimes almost like, you know, really, they're really active to greet you, you know. It's not a strange thing when some stranger you don't even know just come up to you and start up a conversation when you were waiting in line or when you're in public transportation. It was really easy for me to meet new people there. But here in Austria, it's so different. People are more reserved. You know, it's hardly. It's not easy for me, you know, to come up to new people and say, hi, how are you, and you know. So I realized that I have to change. I need to be more active. I need to be more confident. And it's something that I'm working on. And fortunately here, I met with my friend Alois there, and he introduced me to Toastmasters. He said, you know, you should join Toastmasters. It's a good place for you. You can learn how to be, you know, how to speak with people and everything. So I decided to come up here and see, oh, yes, you know, it's a really good place to know people. So I joined here, and, you know, within like few months here, I can feel myself that I'm getting more, you know, comfortable speaking in front of people. I'm getting more confident. And it's easier for me to talk with strangers. But I know that I have a lot of things to improve on. So I would like to, you know, to come back to my first saying that hopefully now that you know me, you will care about me.
The purpose of such a speech is to introduce yourself to the club, but in this case we not only learned a lot about Toastmaster Iman, but also about Indonesia. So I really enjoyed that. And everybody who wants to do it can give some written feedback on the first part of this evaluation form. Even guests can do that if they like. There is a section, first speaker, if you do have this form, and write 1 or 2 sentences about the speech, what you liked, and perhaps one thing improved. So we give members 1 minute to write their feedback, and in the meantime I can explain a little bit about the Toastmaster handbooks. When you join the club, you will get 2 handbooks to start work, and I will explain the first one, which is the communication manual, I think it's called, basic communication. Competent communication. It has 10 projects. The first one is the icebreaker, which we just heard, and all the others are focusing on different aspects of speaking, like how to structure a speech, how to use visual aids, how to use your voice, and so on. But in every speech you have to find the topic yourself, but you focus on one of those aspects. And once you have finished those 10 speeches, you get an award, the competent communicator, and then you can select from a variety of, I think, 16 advanced handbooks, where you can learn all sorts of things, humorous speeches, technical speeches, manager speeches, and inspiring speeches, everything, technical presentations. You select first 2 of them, and then you advance and can do more of such things. And our second speaker today gives a project of one of those advanced manuals. It's called, the manual is called Specialty Speeches, where you find a selection of very different opportunities which are very useful for our real life. And the second project has the overall title, Uplift the Spirit. And that means it is an inspirational speech where the speaker should really inspire the audience to share some idea at the end. You will see what it is. The speaker is Toastmaster Nicole, and now I would like to ask Toastmaster Vic to read us the objectives of this project, please.
For the Toastmasters, Nicole is going to give an advanced speech to summarize what this project is about. An inspirational speech acknowledges listeners' present beliefs, values, and sentiments, explains the need for change, then encourages and motivates listeners to make these changes. An inspirational speaker's success relies heavily on delivery, language, vocal variety, and phrasing. The inspirational speaker adapts to the mood and formality of the occasion and conveys confidence, sincerity, conviction, and enthusiasm. Now, the exact objectives of the speech are: identify and understand the basic differences and similarities between inspirational speeches and other kinds of speeches. Learn how to evaluate the audience's feeling and establish emotional rapport. Develop a speech style and delivery that effectively expresses inspirational content by moving the audience to adopt your views. And the time given is 8 to 10 minutes.
Thank you, Toastmaster Vicky. So Toastmaster Nicole is one of our most experienced members. She always gives very well thought through and very interesting and moving speeches. So I'm really curious what you will hear today. The title of the speech is Both Sad and Happy. Both Sad and Happy. Toastmaster Nicole.
Last year, in December, I took part in our end of the year party, which took place in the evening and not at lunchtime. And that made me both sad and happy. It made me sad because out of more than 30 members, only 12 managed to make it in that very busy month of December. But it also made me happy because we had a wonderful party. A party where we shared not only wishes and presents, little presents, but also conversations, opinions, and we managed to get to know each other better, which we rarely have the opportunity to do in our normal meetings. And I thought that was really nice. So that at the end of that party, I thought to myself, well, maybe it's time for me to give a testimony, and at the end, to share with you a wish that I have. So fellow Toastmasters, and particularly today, honored guests, I heard about Toastmasters some 20 years ago by a friend of mine who was also a member. But that friend was not convincing enough to even push me to attend one meeting. And it took 20 years for me to have a conversation with Claire Edwards. And anybody who knows Claire Edwards knows that when she's convinced of something, she can be very convincing indeed, right? So she convinced me to come and have a look. I did. And after 3 times, sure enough, I joined. And joining Toastmasters made me both sad and happy. Sad because I realized how much I had missed and how useful Toastmasters could have been to me, both in my job and maybe also in my private life. I will give you just 2 examples. I started my career in the UN as a middle rank international civil servant, and I finished as chief of a section. And when I was chief of section, of course, I had to sit on recruitment panels, and I had to recruit face-to-face a number of people. And I noticed that in an interview, sometimes candidates can be their worst enemies. For instance, when asked what their strong points were, no problem, I got them all the time. Now, when asked what their weak points were, I got a blank face. Where do you learn what your strong points and what your weak points are? Right here at Toastmasters. It's part of our routine. We do that all the time. And I also noticed in interviews that when asked unexpected questions, people got destabilized. Where do you learn never to get destabilized by an unexpected question? Right here at Toastmaster. You'll see in a few minutes what the exercise is. Good luck. What we learn. Also, when I became chief of section, of course, I was criticized. That's the name of the game. You know, it comes with the job. For one thing, because I made mistakes. A lot, I think. Well, at least a few. And also because you can never satisfy anybody, everybody. Somebody's red, but someone is always dissatisfied. But I had to admit at one point that there was something that didn't do well. I was not, and I'm still not, a very patient person. So that I was a bad listener. Where do you learn to listen very carefully and without interrupting, which is what you're doing right now, right? Right here at Toastmasters, it's part of our routine again. And we do that so that we can evaluate people afterwards. And you see, when I was a chief, evaluating somebody could be sometimes an excruciating exercise, particularly when I thought that the person was not doing particularly well. And here at Toastmasters, we learn to give balanced evaluation, where we tell people what their weaknesses are. We can always tell what's going wrong, yeah, sure, but we also tell the people what their strong points are, in order to help them to improve, to go forward, because we do it in a friendly way, and we are here not to show other people what to do, but to help each other. But I also told you that joining Toastmasters made me happy, and I'll tell you why. Because after I quit the UN, I developed a very keen interest in the city of Vienna, mind you. So I started reading books, I started researching, I started going to exhibitions and taking city tours regularly and talking to Viennese, young and old. And after some time, I realized that I had gathered quite a knowledge of the city. And since I'm a member of a few associations, I thought, well, why not share that knowledge with other people who've just arrived in Vienna and want to know more about the city? And that's where Toastmasters really came handy. So that every time I give a presentation, either on Viennese cafes, or on the Ring, or Jugendstil, I have like a little Toastmasters puppet standing next to me. I'm the only one who can see it, but it's holding this manual in his hands, and it's constantly pulling at my skirt or pulling at my trousers and telling me, Nicole, watch your body language. Nicole, your voice. Nicole, you're not being very clear there. And to crown it out, because I'm a bit of a masochist, I have friends coming sometimes to my presentation, and sure enough, when they don't like something, they tell me. They tell me, well, you haven't been very clear there. Or, our span of attention went a bit over 12 seconds, but certainly not 3/4 of an hour. So that today, fellow Toastmasters and honored guests. I would like to share with you a wish. And my wish is that you do not make the mistake that I made. You don't wait until it's a bit too late. Do yourself a favor. Don't be sad one day. If you are a guest, attend 3 times and then join. And if you're a Toastmaster already, participate actively. And I promise you, this is a promise, I promise you that one day, maybe not in the short term, but in the medium term, that will definitely make you happy.
It's hard for me to say anything after such a speech. But again, we have 1 minute to give our small written feedback. And especially for the members, what is very important to remember is participate actively. Because even though listening is so important, we don't learn too much by only listening. It's learning by doing. And only when you stand here and speak, that's where the progress happens. But at the same time, a small warning, if you consider joining, the thing is, we hear a lot of each other. So we learn really a lot of each other. So the Toastmasters Club becomes a little bit like a family, because sometimes we know people, we know things from other members which maybe even their family doesn't know everything, because here, whether we like it or not, we give a lot from our personalities by speaking and discussing and giving feedback. So you get to know people pretty well. But it's very valuable at the same time, of course. So, I think now the feedback will be collected. And the next item on our program in about half a minute will be the table topic session. That means one of our members has the role to come here and think of questions either about a common topic or a variety of topics, and ask without prior warning one member at a time to stand up and say something to it within 1 or 2 minutes. Of course, ideally this member will answer the question or speak to the topic, but sometimes one is caught and doesn't really know what to say, and then the exercise is to say something and maybe avoid the topic a little, or make a transition and talk about something else, like sometimes politicians do. So the main thing is not to stand and not to say anything, but to say something, and ideally even to the topic you are asking. So today our table topics master is Toastmaster Vic Tm. He always has very thoughtful and interesting speeches, so I'm really curious what his questions will be. Please welcome our topics master, Toastmaster Vic Tm.
Dear Toastmasters, distinguished guests, today we have a great session with so many new people wishing to join us, and it's also a very difficult moment for me, 10-15 minutes from your lunch, and also from taking an existential decision whether to join us, to embark into this journey, or to think of better things to do. We have this session of table topics, which we normally invite all Toast members to participate in. So I would invite the guests now. Is anybody willing to take a question from me, anything virtually? Hands up if you wish, or not. You will have another chance. happiness, we talked about happiness and membership. And happiness is something not ready-made. It comes from your own actions, says Dalai Lama. And your own action is coming here. It's an important thing for us, and we very much appreciate it. I want to ask Toastmaster Shuba, what gives you happiness and inner peace in your life?
Hello Toastmasters, honored guests, Topic Master Gentian. Happiness for me means to have peace in mind, as you said. And peace, to have peace in mind, for me means always try to help others. Whenever one can do something to help others, one should always do it. At least I take this principle, I follow this principle. As you said, Dalai Lama also said the same thing. If you want to be happy, help others. He always says, if you want to be happy, help others. This is the only means for me to be happy. Sometimes helping others is also not so easy. One has to be very careful to help in what matter, so one should be really knowing how much I can help this person and how I can help this person. People sometimes try to help, but the outcome can be totally different, not so good, not so positive. So therefore, when we try to help somebody, we have to be confident, we have to know, does this person profit from my help or not? Does this person have a good result getting my help or not? So I have to analyze first and think, look, if I want to help somebody, I really must know myself, am I doing correct or not? So anyway, I try my best to think if I should help this person first, and if I decide yes, then I always try to help anybody in the street, in the office, at home, in the public, whatever I can, I'm always ready to help, because I really believe in helping people and to have peace in mind. That's my.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Shuba. You gave in a concise way the reason, the purpose which makes you happy. And as Byrne once said, the purpose of life is a life of purpose. And I take pleasure at hearing that you are always willing to help other people. There is a saying from Pablo Picasso which goes like this, that action is the foundational key to all success. And I think action is what brought you here today, what hopefully will allow you to become members of this club. And I'd like to hear from Toastmaster Victoria. Could you please tell us of a situation in your life where taking action made that difference between winning and losing, between success and failure? Thank you.
Mr. Table Topics Master, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests. If I got your question right, could you just repeat that question one more time?
Yes, of a situation, of a defining moment in your life, where taking immediate action would make the big difference between winning and losing, between success and failure.
Taking immediate. Well, to be honest, this is one of the things that I think it takes all our life to learn how to find that moment, whether to become active or not. I think this is one of the crucial, questions that we are confronted all our lives. And to be honest, I still find myself in that situation after I've passed that situation, and I've moved on, and then afterwards I think, wow, this would have been something, I could have done something. Or I find myself in a situation and I think to myself, well, I shouldn't have done that. So to
to really answer your question properly, at the moment I can't really think of anything that I thought, well, that was really the thing. So I'm sorry, I'm not blathering. It was so unexpected. But this is what we do here. We try to, you know, speak off the cuff. I think try to, no, let me go back. Just 10 seconds. Finding that secret of how, when to be active or when not to be active is a crucial thing, and I think this is, I personally, I've struggled all my life, and I think this is not so easy to master. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Victoria. Sorry for throwing up.
No.
Without notifying you. This is what expects you, dear fellow guests, if you ever decide to join us. And taking action, I personally believe it also has to do a lot with self-belief, belief in one's self. Bruce Barton said once, nothing marvelous has ever been achieved, if not from those who dared to believe that something inside them was much greater than the circumstances. And I'd like to ask, if there was a situation in the past where you took that fateful decision to believe that you were much stronger than the circumstances, Toastmaster Lily. Toastmaster Lily, thank you.
Here I am, writing my notes as the grammarian and realizing he's babbling on about something that I don't know anything about, and I think, who is this guy? And then I'm thinking, oh, maybe he's going to ask me. I better start paying attention. I better listen. And all I caught was the circumstances and stronger than the circumstances. So let me tell you about a situation in 2007 when I was the NGO representative for Women's Federation for World Peace here at the VIC, and the CTBTO had their annual conference. And the NGOs had the opportunity to make a statement to all the member states, to the whole conference. So there were member states representatives from all over the world, and only one speaker representing the 44 NGOs that were represented at this CTBTO meeting. And then there was a back and forth, who's going to give the presentation? Some person had already prepared a speech, and a colleague of mine had read it through and said it took at least 15 minutes to present this speech. The given time available was 12.5 minutes. A couple of names were brought forward, and since some of these people were newcomers to the whole situation, not native speakers, when they were asked to read the speech, almost nobody understood what they were saying. And I guess somebody mentioned my name and suggested that I could do it. And that was a circumstance where I jumped in and said, okay. So all of my life, I felt criticized for being too loud, too fast in my speaking. And in this situation, exactly those two qualities, which I had been infiltrated were my weaknesses, became my strength. I presented that speech, and I kept it in the time, and I even paused for a moment to take a breath, and I was well understood and well received.
I want to go back in time now. We are all grown-ups, yes, in a sense. I want to bring you with your memories to your childhood. There is a saying by Sam Ewing which goes, when you finally go back to your hometown, it's not the house that you miss, it's your childhood memories. And I'd like to ask Toastmaster Brigitte, what is the childhood memory that you treasure most? Sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master, for giving me this question. What I remember most? Sorry.
What is the childhood memory that you treasure
That I
most?
treasure most.
That you always remember with pleasure?
Yes. Well, there are many memories I have from my childhood, but maybe the memory that I treasure most was to grow up in a family and have the feeling that whatever would happen, I would be always kept safe by my family. So no matter what I would do, there would be someone help me out in the situation. It does not mean that I did crazy things and to try out where is now the border, and where my family would say, no, this is too much. So, but just growing up in this environment and having the feeling there is always someone who takes your hand and said, okay, nothing can be that worse that we don't stay with you and care for you. So this is something which is, I think, very important for a child to grow up with these feelings, and you keep it forever, and then you are able to trust others more than maybe if you would not have made this experience during childhood. So I'm grateful that I was able to make this experience, and I try to act the same way. Thank you.
Lunch is almost kicking in, so without losing any more time, I want to pass the word to Toastmaster of the day. Thank you very much for sharing these personal experiences today. Thank
It was this very nice, thoughtful, and interesting table topic session. So now the learning comes. Now comes the evaluation session, where several types of feedback will be given. It's very good to listen to that, because now we will see what's really in the Toastmasters. And for this I would like our general evaluator. Yeah, thank you for reminding me. We also vote for the best table topic speaker. There is a section on the same piece of paper, and on the very bottom there is the section best table topic speaker, where you can just write the first name of the speaker you like most. Could you, once again, just repeat the
sorry, in line of order, it was Toastmaster Shuba, Toastmaster Victoria, Toastmaster Lily, and Toastmaster Brigitte. Four speakers.
What is the second last?
The second last is Toastmaster Lily. Lily, yes.
So please, if you want to participate, write just one of those names on this slip, and it will be collected and counted, and at the end of the meeting we will hear who was voted to be the best table topic speaker. So now it's time for the evaluation session, and I introduce our general evaluator, Toastmaster Rina, who is one of the most eager members of our club, to lead us through this. Please, Toastmaster Rina.
Thank you, Toastmaster Otto. I joined the Toastmasters Club in 2008, and what I improved myself is my listening skills. I just want to say that the listening skill is as important as communication skill and also leadership skills. Toastmaster Victoria, you are giving the first evaluation. Could you please give the evaluation? Valerie. Toastmaster Valerie.
So, fellow Toastmaster Ilma, yes, definitively you improve your speech. As it was the question you mentioned at the very beginning and at the end of your speech, you improve a lot. What were your strong points? To me, your sincerity and your honesty. It is the key when you have to give a speech and to speak in front of an audience is to be convinced about what you say, you know, to be honest and sincere. If you are not, we immediately as an audience we feel it. And you mentioned a lot of moments in your life. You were confident with us when you mentioned that it was not easy to leave your family, to leave your friends, to come to Austria, where the culture is not always the same than your culture. So it was a very, I would say, emotional speech. Was it enough to get to know you? I think in 4 or 6 minutes you cannot speak so much about yourself. But what was interesting for us is to know the key, you know, to know why you are here, what happened in the course of your life, and the feeling about you in this long life. So I think it was perfect. Did the speech reflect adequate preparation? I was really impressed that for a first speech you did not use notes, because at the beginning, you know, we have always like a schema or something like that, and you spoke, I think, on a quite relaxed way, you know, about yourself, because also it was something really that you share inside. So it was a very, very good point. And what I liked most also was the use of these plates, you know. I think it's quite original. It's the first time we saw it here. And it's when we read something, when someone is talking, it's also always a good sign for the audience, because we have like a visual sign in front of us, and we listen, but we have a look at the same time. So I think it was a good idea from you to use this plate. Did the speaker talk clearly and audibly? For me, yes. Sometimes you were trembling, but it's again the emotion of a first speech, and in front of all these people, you know, a first speech, you can imagine how emotional it can be. So it is totally normal, you know, to have this feeling. Did you get a good opening, body and conclusion? I think yes. The conclusion was short, brief, but you went to the goal. The body, you mentioned your story, what happened in the course of your life, and the introduction was quite good. I love it. I talk about the notes. For me, it was impressive not to use notes. And what could you have done differently? Perhaps, but it is also something coming with the experience, it's to be a little bit cooler, you know, not so straight, because you were straight, but it's also something that comes with time, you know. You could have, I don't know, perhaps do this and look everybody in the eyes. I was sitting there, and of course sometimes you were not turning completely to the right, you know, because of course you were focused more on that side. So it is something also we have to bear in mind, is when we have an audience in a room like that, we have to show eyes contact to everybody. You know, it's something that can help. But I think that you had at the end also a good body language, because you move your arms and you know, slowly, you were more comfortable. What did I like about your presentation, as I said, is your sincerity and the fact that you dare sharing your feelings and your emotion. And I think it is something we should all do when we want to talk about something. Not to be afraid of really saying what we think, and not what other people want to hear, you know? To have your own version of a speech. And I think that you did it very, very well for his first speech, and I congratulate you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Valerie. And the speech of Toastmaster Nicole will be evaluated by Toastmaster Vicky. Please.
Dear Nicole, where is she? Dear Nicole, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, did you enjoy Nicole's presentation speech?
Yes.
Did you find it uplifting?
Yes.
Okay, because this is what I'm bound to ask you according to the evaluation sheet. But let me start with the beginning. Nicole, your speech, I perceived it as a wonderful speech. You were so confident and determined. And what I especially loved about it was your body language, the smooth delivery, and also the pauses. You made the right pauses at the right time. So everything you told us, and everything you said to us was authentic. We could actually feel that what you were talking about was really, really true, and that you're so convinced about it. So from this point, objectives met for your speech project. The content, wonderful. The title that you chose, Happy, Sad and Happy, and you gave us examples of, experiences that you had, the party, and also your special experiences when you walked through town, and always came with this sad and happy. You had a certain structure, and I liked that idea. And I always had that feeling that you were trying to convince the audience of how good Toastmasters is and what the benefits are, and that there's always two sides. It can be sad, but you also can be happy, but it will make you improve and it will actually help you grow. So this message I thought was very clear, and it was inspirational and it was uplifting. However, there's one point that I found from the objectives, the speech objectives, which I personally did not see that you actually achieved this one point. And that would be to evaluate the audience's feeling and to give them some report on that. So this I did not really notice. Perhaps I did not see it, perhaps, because I was sitting at the back, perhaps I missed out on something. But I thought that this speech project would actually demand of you that you concentrate on the audience and you evaluate their feelings and you give them some kind of feedback, which I did not notice. But otherwise, it was a wonderful speech, Nicole, and it's always a joy. It's always so much fun to hear you speak and to see you. So, a very good speech and congratulations.
Now the next is our counter, who will make a lot of money for our club. Toastmaster Shubha, could you please give us your report?
Madam General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests. Today, actually, I really thought we would make a lot of money, but it's not the case. Toastmaster Ilman had 11. Most of them, this was, you said many times, So 11 together, but if you wish, you can pay only for 10. That is one. And Victoria has 1. And Valerie, she has also 9, and all of them are, That ends my report for today. Brigitte, I did not notice about you, and mine, when I was speaking, maybe you have noticed my ums and so on. I'm ready to pay. That ends my report.
Thank you, Toastmaster. Now, Toastmaster Lily, can we have your report on grammarian and how often we use the word member and to improve our English and our speaking.
So in terms of the word member, I know that Otto used it at the very beginning, and I realised later on that I missed the opportunity to reiterate it and use it again. I didn't catch anybody else. If anybody remembers using it or hearing it, I say Otto was the winner there. He used it straight away.
I did it only once, Nicole.
Nicole? Oh yes, of course. I thought of that, but Nicole must have used it saying join Toastmasters to become a member, but I don't, unfortunately, it's like when you get totally involved listening and you forget your job because you're just fascinated by the content of what's in the content. I thought that Valerie's introduction was very appropriate, especially for newcomers, and her pointing out that the different accents. And then she said another terminology that she used was we move on. Doing something of your life should be, I think, with your life or in your life. And an interesting way of introducing, I'm calling Otto. We have the opportunity, the freedom here to use a lot of different languages, come together with our different languages, and we understand each other. So the grammarian's job is to try and point out the inappropriate things. When Otto was talking about unprepared speeches, I would have used the word spontaneous speeches. Then he did say impromptu speeches. It just felt a little bit uncomfortable saying unprepared. Of course, the issue in Toastmasters, we have the prepared speeches and the unprepared speeches, but using the word unprepared speeches in that context feels uncomfortable. It doesn't feel like it really fits there. We will learn every day a lot, Rena. I think we will learn a lot every day. Look at the grammar, examine the grammar is what I'm doing. I'm examining the grammar, not looking at the grammar. I thought Shuba's comment about being the moneymaker today was a very good expression to use. It was an interesting and new aspect to the role of the accountant. Ilman, in his speech, talked about a part of my family. When he was away from his family. When we are apart, then we are separated. But you said a part of my family, then you would say apart from my family. Okay. When I meet new people, I usually get quiet, tense, got quiet or tense. When I meet new people, I usually got quiet. The tenses there are mixed. I usually get quiet when I meet new people, or when I met new people, I got quiet. It's not unusual, just come up to you, that a stranger comes up to you. Again, the grammar, the come or comes. It's a really good place to know people or to meet people would be more appropriate, I think. Vicky's pronunciation of the word content, I felt that the accent, content has a number of different meanings, and the way that you were pronouncing it would be more like content, happy. And I think you meant it in the context of the what is inside something, the content, and the accent would be more on the content and not content. Content is being happy. Destabilized, Nicole, I don't know what I wrote there, something was wrong with the way that destabilized. It's part of our routine was good, not to show other people what to do. I thought that was a very good expression to use, that we're exactly learning to become ourselves and using our skills to improve ourselves and not trying to become like other people, but really recognizing the skills in ourselves. Otto, say something to it. I would say something about it. Shuba, what makes you happy? Okay, Shuba's talk was about what makes you happy, and then you often use the word one. The very German type of expression, one is happy, and I felt that it was a little bit overplayed when it was more like the third person about other people, where the topic was about yourself, which you then included in your talk, but you did use one in a sense that was very distant. You also talked about peace in mind, and I think it should be peace of mind. Genshin, this is what expects you when you join Toastmasters. No, that's what you can expect when you join Toastmasters. This is what awaits you when you join Toastmasters. Brigitte, nothing can be that worse, nothing can be that bad, nothing can be worse than that. Gentian, lunch is kicking in. I thought that was a good expression. I'm not exactly sure how that's meant, but it felt good. It felt like, yeah, the feeling to have lunch is kicking in, so let's get on and finish this meeting off. And let me start with the beginning. Vicky, I would say let me start at the beginning. And that ends my...
I have a question. I didn't not hear your point about I'm calling Otto. So it's too informal.
It's good. No, I thought it was okay. It was an unusual, it was an idiosyncrasy. It was your specialty. It was a different way of doing it.
But it's too
it's not normal. It's not usual. It's not a typical English usage. I am calling Otto is sort of like I'm calling him on the phone or I'm calling him in the field. I call on Otto to come to the podium. Okay. And dear guests, please don't be afraid of what I thought was harsh criticism that Nicole got, because some people join our club and then complain that everybody's just too friendly and nice and they don't get any critique. So we've learned to specialise in finding areas where people want to get the critique that they need so that they can improve. So don't get intimidated when you hear people being a little bit harsh and criticising, because the whole name of the game is to learn by doing, learning by doing.
Thank you, Toastmaster Lily. Now, timekeeper, Toastmaster Brigitte, could you please give us your report?
Thank you, Toastmaster General Margarita. Today's timing report is the following. I timed the speeches. Speaker number 1, Toastmaster Edelman, his allotted time was 4 to 6 minutes, and actually he took 5 minutes 39 seconds. Then Toastmaster Nicole, your allotted time was 8 to 10 minutes, and you used 8 minutes 55 seconds. For the table topics, the allotted time was 2 minutes. Toastmaster Schuber used 2 minutes 8 seconds. Toastmaster Vicky 1 minute 56 seconds. Toastmaster Lily 2 minutes 20 seconds. And myself, I used 2 minutes 5 seconds. So we are all within the allotted time frame. And for the evaluations, Toastmaster Valerie, because the allotted time for evaluations is 2 to 3 minutes, and Toastmaster Valerie used for the evaluation of Toastmaster Illmann's speech 4 minutes 4 seconds, and Toastmaster Vicky used 3 minutes 5 seconds. This is the time report for today.
The chairperson, Toastmaster Valerie, will announce the winner of the table topics. As a general evaluator, I'm glad to say that we have got so many guests, and I hope you will come again to watch us. The only thing I noticed is my request to the table topic master. In the Toastmasters meeting, we always pick up people who do not have a role to get a question. In this case, our male colleagues, all 3 of them, didn't have a chance to say one single word. I am sure Toastmaster Collard is very happy with it, but as a general evaluator, I am not. So next time, please pick up those people, I mean everyone, this sentence is for everyone who didn't have a chance to say something. That is the only thing I noticed here. Yeah, with this, I will give the floor to Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Otto.
Marina, for your excellent leading through the evaluation session. So we are a little bit over time and coming close to the end of the meeting. So all I want to say is that I'm very happy that I had the honor to lead you all through this meeting, and I hope to see many of the guests at least 1 or 2 more times. And with this, I return control of the meeting to our President, Mr. Valerie.
because we run out of time, I would like to know today who is the winner of the table topic. Who is the ballot counter? You have counted. So the winner is
Lily.
So what you get when you are the best table topic speaker? Wonderful. Great. So we will have our next meeting on the 9th of February. We don't know where. It depends on you. If you are many to attend this meeting, we will meet here. Otherwise, we will try to meet in our usual place in the library, but you will receive a communication. And just before closing this meeting, I would like to have briefly two feelings about the guest, about this meeting. Was it exactly what you expect from this meeting? And yes, briefly. I don't know who wants to take the floor and give his impression. Yeah?
For me, it was better than expected because I was expecting the same, someone giving, some lessons to people, but it's really hands-on training. So I really like the way that everybody's involved and as, I don't know your name, sorry, the master evaluator or the general evaluator said that, everybody should try to do something, at least even if it's short time. So it's really good because otherwise you might get, because if you are shy, you might get in trouble and you might not say anything. So I'm really happy and I'm really comfortable with this way of doing things.
Good, good. Someone else?
I was really impressed by all the feedback and by the use of time. I thought it was very efficient, and I will definitely come back.
Wonderful. So we have two new guests, I think. You were not there at the beginning because we asked briefly everybody to introduce himself or herself. So can we get a little bit information about you? I know you, but I would like the colleague to know more about you. So where you come from and why you are here.
So I'm Thibault. Sorry I was late. I went to the other building and it took me some time to come here. I work for Sustainable Energy for All, and just to give you a quick feedback, I attended some Toastmasters already at the OECD, somewhere else, let's say somewhere else, and I find this session much more kosher, and looks like people have good relations, and it was very nice.
Good. So you can attend 3 times as a guest here. So you can still come twice. And you?
Yes, hello, my name is Xing Fei. I'm from China, and I am working for the Advocacy and Communications Group at UNIDO. And I thought this was very good and quite effective, and I think this whole session can really improve our public speaking and our English for sure. So you might see me again.
We hope.